Hello and welcome to the Rick and DAFS podcast. I'm Rick.
And I'm DAFS.
And we are here for you unscripted and raw.
That is right. And for those of you just joining us for the first time ever, possibly on our new Vlogcast, which I'm going to have on Facebook. Hello, you at home. You get to see inside Rick's house. He's not a huge fan of that.
No, my country boy ways really have a problem with people seeing the inside of my home.
But he gave us permission, so you get to see all the cool artwork he has and see how we do this whole podcast. So don't forget, we are on Stitcher. We are also on Podbean.
And now on iTunes.
Really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And Exposing Jack Thirst Radio, which you should all definitely check out.
On Facebook.
And congrats to you. Your band is on YouTube now.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really congratulations worthy, but you've been bothering me to put it on YouTube.
I've been hounding him for a long time. I'm like, I want to be able to share it without pulling my phone out and being like, everyone listen to this really small speaker. Isn't it good?
At any rate, Lovely Lovers, we are now on iTunes. Well, we've been on iTunes, but we're now on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Just put out a new single called Carry the Pieces of the Girl.
It's really
Will
good.
Not Be Disappointed, up on iTunes and other streaming sites as well.
Cool. All right, well, let's just jump into it. Today's podcast topic is going to be, are you better off being yourself now or a king in the 1500s? And we'll kind of fuse that with if you would choose the king option, which I personally wouldn't. Although, Rick, you seem to be pretty excited about it.
The reaction was yes, definitely. Although now that we've talked about it just a little bit, I'm reconsidering.
Well, if you made the decision, you're kind of going to live with it at that point. What would you do as a king is kind of what we're going to get into.
So, what would you do? And then there are obviously pros and cons. So we have to go into it. So first you have to figure out whether you could even be the king. Like, would you be even capable of doing the job? But really quick, middle ages kind of pros and cons list. Lots of cons.
Lots of cons.
One, no plumbing.
No.
Hygiene, not really very common or purposeful.
Pro, not having to bathe. Con, no one else bathes.
Mm-hmm. If you're the king, con, arranged marriage. Pro or con, depending. Lots of affairs are going on.
Yeah, tons of mistresses.
You could probably find love somewhere.
Hopefully. If that arranged marriage doesn't work out so well.
Con or pro, depending on how angry you are. Lots of opportunity for battle or to be killed in battle. So if you're of more the cowardly variety, that might not be your favorite thing.
But you get to stay behind your walls and live to a ripe old age of roughly 50?
50-ish. Henry VIII lived to be about 58.
That's not bad. It's a pretty good run.
All right. Trivia question for you, DAFS.
All right.
How many divorces did Henry VIII have?
6, right?
0. All annulled.
No.
By his own hand.
Okay, well, I mean, he killed a whole bunch of them, and then
well, and once you declare yourself
and
king god of the church, I mean, you can do whatever you want. So he never got divorced.
Church of England, cake or death.
Hey, you know what? We have to thank him for that.
We do.
Broke us away from from Rome.
Yes. The Roman Catholic Church.
Okay. So, DAFS, I gotta ask, would you go by King DAFS? King David? I mean, you'd be King David. Although, I have to say, they were very anti-Semitic in the day. King David would not be very popular as a name.
That's true. I would probably be King Davidus, the first of his name, or something like that.
King Daffodus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a good one. And I'd honestly, I'd go for sainthood right off the bat. We talked a little earlier about, well, do I get to warm up for this? Do I get to go on Wikipedia and learn?
Or study up for a day before you go back?
Get the 1500
No, you do not.
Farmer's Almanac, predict all the droughts.
Then they'd be like, he's a witch.
Or a saint.
And they find out if you weighed as much as a duck and then drown you.
Yeah, they definitely would.
Yeah. Monty Python.
Yep, that's a good reference. So no, you don't get to go and research. It's just you right now go back in time.
But you have all your knowledge.
Which I think is I think that would be unfair. I have a basic understanding of chemistry.
I don't think it's that unfair because think about it. you have all your knowledge of now, but you have no knowledge of medieval times or customs.
Yeah.
You have no battle strategy. You're 29 years old. You're basically like past your midlife crisis probably had happened like 5 years ago.
Yeah. All those angsty early 20 years, that was your midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Hope you had a good one, guys.
Yeah.
I'm feeling 22. I'd feel sad too, Taylor Swift. You're about to die.
Yeah. So basically your life it's slowly edging away.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I have a cursory knowledge of various things. But yeah, I definitely would be sticking out in 1500s English culture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that'd pass very well. I don't know how I'd be king either.
Well, okay, you don't
I'd have to inherit it.
You don't. Well, okay. Of course, you have to inherit it.
Why?
You don't think you could. You don't think you could usurp, is what you're saying?
Well, no. I like. You'd have to explain like, oh, this is King DAFS. He was away, and now in another country, and now he's here.
Well, okay. In this scenario, though, you would just be you're the king.
Yeah.
And nothing is like no one has ever known any different.
Yeah.
So you're the king.
Yeah.
You come in, it's like your coronation day or whatever. So like normally they would have been prepared since birth to like hand out judgment and stuff.
Mhm.
It was a far more violent, hard time to be alive.
It was, man.
So I think that like handing out justice would be very difficult.
Right? Well, I feel like you would use today's morality to try to like rule, and people will be like, I don't understand what you're talking about. They're just peasants. It's not a huge deal.
And they're
And
essentially just like viewed as, pests.
war is good business. They have resources we need. We can invade them. Actually, no, we'd probably do fine. That's not too far from where we are today. But yeah, I mean,
Instead of oil, it's corn.
exactly
No more war for corn.
It's
Is what they'll be
literally
yelling.
just food. We're all fighting for food.
That would be like the picketers. They'd be like, no war for potatoes as you're about to invade Ireland. Yeah, I found out about the Irish famine.
Yeah.
They were still making the Irish like export as a lot of their potatoes to England. So they had no potatoes, and then what little they had, they were like, you need to send this over to England. That's terrible.
And you wonder why they're still a little bit sore about it.
So here's my thing. I think I would actually go down as a better king than King Henry VIII.
Well, there's not much competition. The guy was pretty terrible.
Well, see, if I was like switch places with him, which I think is what we're kind of going at,
Yeah.
is that we'd switch places with him. Who do you think would fare better? Him in my time or me in his time?
Oh man, that's like a whole other podcast. Can you imagine? He'd be in jail so fast. He'd be like, no, I swiped right, and then I didn't like her, and so I just had her killed. I don't understand what the problem is. Officer, what are you doing? This is...
Well, actually, to be fair to Henry VIII, he was actually a little bit of a romantic. He
Yeah.
genuinely did he married for love 5 times. He just had most of them killed because he fell out of love.
For a 40-year-old fat dude who was trying to date and or betroth, whatever the word is there, like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, it was pretty messed
It was
up.
common at the time,
Yeah.
in fairness to him.
Yeah.
Okay, but culturally, I'm just saying, I wouldn't have done that.
No.
Well, see, and here's how I would be a much better king than him already, is that King Henry VIII actually sent more men and women to their deaths than any other English monarch.
And he probably wouldn't do that.
No, I probably wouldn't. I mean, he actually even, let's see, I'm just looking at this. He had a 67-year-old countess woken early in the morning in 1541 and told her to prepare for her death because she wouldn't recognize him as the head of the English church.
At 67, I mean, a strong breeze could probably do her in. I don't feel like you need to bring her out to the gallows. That's about as old as you can get.
Ugh.
Oh, bad business. Yeah, so, I mean, overall, I think a lot of things would help me. I think my medical knowledge would definitely be really useful.
Yes.
To a point. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't have normal saline or opiates that I can like...
Trauma, but your trauma skills would come in. You could be the health king. You'd be like, his reign was only 5 years, but he taught the people a lot about nutrition,
And cholesterol.
and then he was stabbed in the back.
Yeah. by a cousin.
By one
Or-
of his cousins
yeah.
who, like,
Yeah, we'd get rid of the leeches and everyone would have, much more field amputations.
either that or they would say that you were crazy because you're like, no, get those leeches away from me. I'm not gonna let you bleed me.
Well,
It's not good for me.
That's the thing. I mean, some things I think you can get used to. The whole non-bathing.
I
feel
could
like-
get into
I
that.
feel like overall, you'd get used to that probably pretty quick. But I don't think that you'd get used to just having to wear so many clothes all the time. Like,
That's
those
true, 'cause they
outfits
wore,
are
like-
insane.
Because they wore like tunics and then a tunic over that tunic.
I'm wearing a cotton T-shirt right now, and I'm like, this is a little bit warm and tight. I wish I didn't have this on right now. And they're like, well, what about your codpiece? What about your
Okay,
your
the
second
cod
cod-
pieces I'd say is a plus.
That's a pro. And
On
next-
your official portrait, you get to wear a cod piece.
you get to choose it,
Yeah, you.
whatever you want.
I'd have a bejeweled one.
Peacock feathers, everything.
Okay, but to be fair, in all honesty, how cool would it be to have some guy like painting the best artist of the time in the country comes and paints your picture? Basically, this question is: would you rather have like immortality and like fame just from being king versus just live out your everyday life?
Yeah.
I mean, you do get the best healthcare of the day. Versus now, you don't get the best healthcare, even though your healthcare would be better than mine if I was the king. I mean, there's all sorts of procedures you don't even know about. They're keeping them secret from you because you're one of the poor,
That's
like, loser people.
part of the proletariat. That's probably true. However, I also think that most of our homeless today have better health care than King Henry VIII did.
That's
If we're-
probably
That's probably true. So I don't think you really come out as a win on that one. So here, what are the pros and cons of my current life? 'Cause I think my current life is pretty cushy and great, but
well. One, you have to. I mean,
I have to work.
and you really, as much as we say that we live in a democracy, your like control over your environment is very limited.
That's true.
Yeah, if you're the king, I mean, as we've seen, you can just kill your wives and be like, I'm going to start my own religion, and you can do that.
Yeah. If you thought I had white straight male privilege now, just wait until I'm the 15th century king.
Yeah.
You will see what we're capable of.
Yeah.
No, see, that's the problem. I would feel so guilty. I would be like, well, how about we listen to what the ladies have to say? And they'd be like, what? This king's just not, he's not working out, guys. We need to kill him.
We need to kill. He's weak.
He's talking
He's
about
weak.
people voting. I'm not sure what that's
Oh,
all
I
about.
would not let anybody vote. If I was the king, are you kidding me? Well, one, I wouldn't let people vote mostly because power corrupted me, but also because I have 21st century knowledge. And they have 16th century knowledge, so I'm way more smart than them.
Yeah, that's true. But everything you would do would be bizarre. They'd be like, he's made an ordinance. Everyone must bathe at least twice a month. This
We're
is
wasting
ludicrous.
tons of productivity. Think about how much productive we would be if we didn't bathe or really eat very much.
I mean, maybe. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. Transportation.
It would take a really long time.
It would take forever to get anywhere.
Okay, but here is one of the pluses. You get to go around to all your, you have multiple properties.
Yeah, tons
You
of
have,
vineyards.
beach houses, and wherever you go, the Lord or whoever that land has to, treat you to a sweet feasts and, banquets. I mean, food you probably just couldn't even fathom. Well,
Yeah.
all organic.
That is true. Yeah.
I would go back and I'd be like, I'd send out the first people. I'd be like, I want you to go to Mexico. I want you to. They'd be like, what's that? Just don't worry about it. I just want you to sail southwest of here.
You see that direction?
Just
Keep
keep
going.
going until you hit land mass. You'll find some people there.
Don't sneeze on them.
Don't sneeze on them.
Dear God, don't sneeze on them.
Don't do anything bad to them. Just ask them if you can, hang out and do some mining. Get me. There's a bunch of gold there, I swear.
Yeah.
It'd be like, he's prognosticating. He thinks he's Jesus.
He's definitely
Kill
rich.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. I feel like your ambition would guarantee that you would die. All that knowledge that you wouldn't be able to use would drive you insane. Like, I don't have the exact formula for gunpowder, but I know like the basic ingredients off the top of my head.
Roughly no.
Like, if all of a sudden I invented gunpowder, they would definitely think I'm a witch. The fact that I know that like there's land masses to the west of us, and like they have tons of stuff. I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like I'd be more frustrated, but like I can't use this knowledge. That would bother me more than anything.
I don't know if I have much knowledge that would translate over to medieval times.
No?
Well, I mean, besides medical knowledge and just like a knowledge of history.
Well, yeah.
My knowledge of history. But I don't have that much knowledge of history. It's not like I could like correctly get out of trouble because of whatever.
Well, no. But imagine if you knew about some of these plagues. Some of these massive, huge plagues.
Oh, there was a huge plague during the Middle Ages when King Henry VIII was king.
Right? So if you knew what was causing it, you could keep you and most of your subjects totally safe. You'd be like, guys, it's the fleas. I know
Kill
you're
all
used
the
to
rats. Get the rats out of here.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna take all our cheeses. Well, let me ask you this, DAFS. What would be your first ruling, your first proclamation as king?
Oh man. I feel like it should be something like to end the biggest suffering possible, like peasants don't have to work on Saturday or Sunday, and we're gonna pay them twice as much as they get paid now.
That would destroy your economy.
But I feel like, I feel like what would probably end up happening is I'd be like, all right, we're gonna stop all the wars and executions for right now. Whatever's in the works, we're just stopping it. Everyone's gonna chill out. I'm gonna need a minute to think.
Mine would be no beards allowed.
What?
Then I only could have a beard.
You're the only beard in the land. Man.
Then I would immediately emasculate everyone.
Foreign emissaries would show up and they'd be like, "This is an act of war." And you'd be like, "What? No, why?"
So, this is my like show to like share all my funny like weird king tidbits I've learned over the last year.
Yeah.
So King John, notorious, well known for Robin Hood.
Mm.
Robin Hood people. When he was younger, his dad was like, I need to, I'll give you some lands. What lands should I give you? Ireland. So he went over there to rule, like in person. Didn't last very long because he tugged on the beards of all the local kings that came out to greet him and laughed at them for having great long beards, and then they chased him out.
I feel like
that's just like diplomacy 101. You don't pull on a man's beard.
Yeah, you don't do that.
That's how you get Santa Claus not to give you gifts, by the way.
I feel like any campaign into Ireland is just doomed. Ireland's like
It wasn't even a campaign. He was just went over there to be in charge.
I know what I mean. Like I feel like that's like going into Russia. Like it's not going to end well. It might last you a little longer than last time, but it's not going to end well.
So we're talking about food.
Yeah.
Perhaps the food actually might cause you to get high back in the days, because sometimes the villagers were running out of grain and they didn't have a new crop ready to be harvested, so they had to use old rye to make their rye bread. Unfortunately, some of this rye frequently was infected with a fungus that had an LSD-like quality.
No, I've heard about this. Yeah, there's a certain kind of mold that does that.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a fungus.
Yeah, they think that fungus that has that LSD-like property is the reason for a lot of these massive mass hysteria things.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
They talked about Jamestown.
Yeah.
They talked about a ton of these things, and they're like, yeah, people go nuts on this, and it was essentially in a perfect environment to grow with how they were like storing all their rye. Like, oh, this would be a great idea. And they're like, yeah, if you want to grow fungus. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of things that would be really just messed up back then. I don't know, man. I wouldn't go back. Honestly, I don't even think you could get me to go back 20 years. You could be born in the 70s. I'm like, no, I'm good. I prefer the internet. and fantasy
See,
football.
no ESPN would be tough for me. I'd invent basketball like 800 years early.
Like right away.
Yeah, like I feel like people would be kicking around a soccer ball. I'd just go up and punch them. I would ban this game.
Yeah.
I'd invent. Actually, that's what I'd be known for. I'd be the king that invented sports. This king, he wants us to take this ball, like made out of pigskin.
Mm-hmm.
He's created all these crazy rules. What's a yard? I don't even know.
Okay, that is the one thing. If I was a king of England, we would go to the metric system immediately. None of this. I'm not gonna taint the foreign
SAS.
colonies later on with this inches and feet. I'd be like, no, what's everyone using right now? Oh, really? The cubit? Okay, that sounds great. We'll do
Hands?
that until.
No, they'd be doing hands.
Oh,
They still do. Okay, England, they still talk about stone. A stone is like 12 or 14 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, I weighed 10 stone. Like, what? What the heck is that? Why are you saying that?
there's like one
Anyone who
stone.
said that they weighed certain stone, I'd be like, you're out. Get out of my sight.
How much Bitcoin is it? What? I don't know.
Dude, okay, I saw a place where they were like, you could trade Bitcoin for money. What is up with that?
Well, Bitcoin is money.
No, it's not.
It is.
I don't
Totally
understand
is.
how this is a thing.
I don't know.
I hate it.
That's the thing, man. I feel like there's so much that we don't understand, and this is exactly what it would be like for us going back in time. Also, what it would be like for Henry VIII coming back to our time. It would just be nearly impossible. I feel like anything more than 50 years, and stuff just doesn't make sense.
See,
This culture changes
you know
so
what?
fast.
The more I think about it, I'm going back. Okay?
Really?
Yes, I'm going back. Here's what I would do. One, I'd invent a ton of sports. Basketball, football, those are all getting invented during my time. And then England would rule the world at sport because of that, because we would have been playing basketball and football for hundreds and hundreds of years. Two, I'm going to send people out to like colonize all these places. I'm going to start the colonies. They'll be like, this guy, he came in, he found America, he found Mexico. Not only that, he invented lots of sports. Sure, he didn't conquer very much.
Well, so just so we're clear, for public record, Rick doesn't think that the English Empire had enough imperialism. We need to conquer more foreign lands. That would be his number one thing.
Yeah.
Would you be nice at least?
Yeah. Well, as nice as I could be for the time.
Yeah, like be like the Persians.
Well, as Stalin or Mussolini, one of them said, blood alone turns the wheels of history.
Be like the Persians. The Persians were like, hey, you're ours now. We
Well, I
rule
definitely
this
wouldn't go into conversions. We're not going to do that. We're not
No.
going to try and convert people.
here." No.
That's a waste of time.
Let them rule themselves, but just understand, hey, you're
Basically, I just
you're in
want
charge.
I just want the gold. Just give me the gold.
Give me the gold. Give me some of your blue agave and some of your rye and maybe a little bit of that hashish.
Teach my guys
over
how
there.
to shoot a bow and arrow while riding at full bore,
Yeah.
and that's all I really need.
And maybe some of your women. Just a few women.
The hottest ones.
Well, I'm just thinking. No, this is both for the wrong reasons and the right reasons, and I'm digging myself into a grave. I know, but
Good
can
job,
you
buddy.
imagine if the number one goal that you made was to try to intermarry as many of your citizens with other nations? If you could break down this huge racial divide for all these countries, how cool? What would that even end up being if suddenly
So basically, you
half of England was like totally multicultural and every other land also was multicultural?
So what you're saying is, I need to go conquer the world, and then make it multicultural.
In the nicest way possible.
This is way possible.
That sounds really paternalistic now that I'm saying it out loud.
It does.
But also, I have
Actually, it's
21st
kind of-
century knowledge.
It actually
so
is kind of an
feel
idea. Like, could you effectively change the world as we know it today by like requiring interracial marriage in the past?
Well, and maybe not conquering countries, but yeah, sending emissaries, being like, look, we need an emissary from every nation on Earth, and we need to send emissaries to that place. And guess what? You only get a 2-year spell. You got to marry someone from that land so that you can understand their culture and live in that culture. And then after 2 years, we're bringing you back. It'd be like the Mormon Church on missions, but with all your people.
Lots more sex, is what you're saying.
Have you met the Mormons? There's a lot of sex already.
Yeah, we can't air this.
We can definitely air this.
Oh my gosh.
We can definitely air this. No, but yeah, I think overall, if you could tear down a lot of those things, maybe you could do good.
So, quick break from the action,
All right.
and we are going to do the news.
Oh.
DAFS, did you know that filling your car is actually worse than looking at toilet seat? Here's what you could catch from a petrol pump. I like saying petrol pump that way, by the way. And this is from, this is from The Mirror. This is a UK news outlet. They say there are certain items and places we assume to be having heavy with foul bacteria. Public toilets, brushes, pets' toys, chopping boards, even the bottom of our handbags, ladies. These are like miniature germ safaris.
Pretty much.
But now we have to add one more to the list, and it's bad news. Refilling your car is unavoidable, and grasping at the pump tightly and pushing down on that button. Oh, I didn't think about that.
Oh man,
That
keypads.
pump and that button have been also grasped by countless other drivers. The collateral damage from this, germs. Oh my gosh, I've been thinking about that.
Yeah.
When you look at the bacteria levels, they have a number of viable bacteria cells. Oh geez. It's one of the filthiest places in the world.
I believe it.
Okay, this is where we'll stop and we'll just talk about it. Petrol pumps contain more than 11,000 times more bacteria than your common household toilet seat.
That's gross.
So now I'm gonna be the guy wearing a latex or a glove who's filling up his car.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mirror UK.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
I will say this real quick. What's more disgusting than that? At my brother's bachelor party, one of the scavenger hunt activities you had to do to check off the list was lick a skee ball at the Dave and Buster's. And I did it with I had a shot of whiskey or something like that in my glass, and I was like, "This is."
And then you chased it.
This will be all right. And so it's me and Darren Darren's like, "All right," and he goes and he licks the whole thing, like full on tongue out, licks it, and I was like, "Just touch your tongue." He was like, "That counts." You didn't even have a chaser. I'm like, dude.
That's really gross.
Yeah, so.
Although there are lysosomes in your mouth.
Yeah.
They help cut things up. So, how do you think, let's do it this way. Do I think that DAFS, you would be a good king in the 1500s? Let me put it this way. No, I do not.
I was going to say, if you say yes, then I really think that you shouldn't be in charge.
One, I don't think you're bloodthirsty enough.
No.
Two, I think your knowledge of battle and their their politics is not good enough. And I just feel like you'd get killed or exiled very quickly.
Rick, I hear you say that, but you don't understand. I have the best people in the business. The smartest people are on my. I have. They're phenomenal. They're fantastic. That's essentially how I would rule. I would just Donald Trump the crap out of that.
You just have lots of bravado.
I'd hire as many smart people to advise me and just listen to them completely.
I'd
for
still
years.
do it. I'd go for it.
You'd still do it?
I'd go for it.
I could see you as king.
I think that I would end up really corrupt. I mean, just as corrupt as a king in the day.
Yeah.
I think I would acclimate very well to that culture. sure.
Your name's already pretty kingly, man. I've always said that Rick, if he has a son, should name him Ulrich von Bierstrom. Because
The Vaughn just doesn't make any sense.
It keeps the Rick thing going.
I found out Scottish that Mac, like McLeod or whatever, that means I think son of.
Really?
Yeah. So like if you're like Alex McHenry, you're Alex, son of Henry.
Well.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know. I felt kind of stupid for not having figured that out earlier. Anyways, I would do it. I would.
I wouldn't.
Why not?
No.
I don't have to pay any taxes. 1. 2, I can basically do whatever I want.
I feel like I have a whole lot more freedom as a pawn in the grand scheme of Time Warner Cable and the bank system than I do as a king in the 1500s. I feel like I can kind of live my own life, be left alone. As a king, I feel like I'd be constantly having to do things I don't want to do.
Well, you have to do things now you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You have to go to work.
But none of them involve killing people.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to involve killing people. Actually,
If
your
I wanted
entire job involves killing people.
I don't kill
You're a
anybody.
hospice nurse.
I don't kill
Okay,
anybody.
you say that, but you help them die.
Well, I help them be comfortable as they die, yeah.
Yeah, I would help people be comfortable as they die too. By the end of my lance.
No one's been treated, so I'm going to kill them with kindness. I'm literally going to kill them with kindness.
I'm going to starve you, but I'm going to do it nicely. I would do it.
Yeah, I believe you. I really do believe you.
I would invent so many crazy things.
That's it. Okay, so here's
Okay, and that's the other thing,
a
is you
quick
could be completely insane and no one will remove you from power. There was a French king who thought he was made of glass and didn't want anybody to touch him. And they didn't remove him from power. They just were like, well, the king's crazy. We don't necessarily listen to him, but he's still the king.
We're just going to wait this one out.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. They did just wait it out.
So you said that you would invent so many sports. Would you do the same sports, or would you just invent the most bizarre sport you can imagine and make it the national standard?
Like where people throw ducks at balloons.
Like Calvin Ball. Just you make it up as you go along, and there's like 89 bases.
And I always win.
Yeah. I would totally do that. It would be great.
Oh my gosh. I think that's the problem, is I would get super corrupted. Really fast.
Yeah, 1500s royalty is definitely like Chicago politics. It's pay to play, and you're gonna get corrupted the day you start. It's just
Lots of interest.
and half of them end up in jail or dead. There you go.
Assassin. There'd be a lot of things I would do. It would be actually, see, it would be fun. You get to live a life of adventure, leave your mark on history.
Yeah,
When are you ever gonna have that chance?
that's true. Who's gonna remember me 100 years from now? Probably nobody. Who's gonna remember me as a king 500 years from now?
Lots of people.
Everyone.
Yeah. People are gonna know your name. You're either gonna, and you gotta go big or go home. You gotta either be like super corrupt tyrant who breaks from the Roman Catholic Church,
Mm-hmm.
or like you gotta like be super battly,
Yeah.
or super benevolent.
Or just insanely eccentric.
Which I think that's what I would go for. I'd go for eccentric.
Yeah.
Let people like. My words are my own, my actions those of my ministers. I'll be off on a catamaran. On the royal yacht. See you suckers
You're
later.
just phoning it in.
Literally.
Doing royal decree by carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
Someone's invading us? Don't let them.
Yeah. Go out and fight the battle. I'll be over here. And if they do beat you, then I'd just be like, well, good job. You win this round. I'll accept exile. I'll go to Switzerland.
Yeah, right.
I'll live it up there on whatever pension you feel is
That's the thing.
fair.
A lot of times they'd either just kill you or they would just buy you out. Like a
Okay.
game of Monopoly.
You know what? This is exactly what it is. Is that you're essentially a CEO in today's world.
Yeah.
You have way too much power.
Golden
parachute. Us getting fired and getting the golden parachute is essentially the same as being exiled to Switzerland
Yeah.
or wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
If you really screw people over, you'll end up in jail or like a really crappy exile on an island where there's really not much going on.
I'd be like, I'm exiled. I get to choose where.
Yeah.
Like, all right, fine. Hawaii.
What's that?
What the hell is that? You'd be like, it's gonna take a while. And you said, yeah, I could do it. I need 12 ships. We're gonna go the long way and hit every port we possibly can.
This brings another question to my mind.
This is gonna be the longest podcast ever. I love
It's
it.
a really long episode. If your kingdom was conquered, would you then use your knowledge that you have now to be like, okay, you've beaten me, that's fine, but I can tell you, there are vast riches in this place. I can guide the people there. I know where they are. So if you spare my life and let me, do my thing, then I just, go over to Cuba and hang out and live there.
Yeah.
Start growing tobacco.
Yeah, I imagine that you could. I mean, you saw how opium has affected like mass society. That's all you would have to do is like if you got exiled, you'd be like, all right, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be back in 5 years with a ton of gold and a lot of addictive substances to give all of your court, and then we'll see how long you stay in power. Sound good? Here, hit this.
Take a draft off of that.
That's all it would be. You could usurp any throne you want to with just enough gold and highly addictive substances.
That's true. That would be your way to conquer almost everything. Actually, see, that's how you conquer. You don't do it through blood. You do it through business.
Through gift giving.
Through gift giving of opium.
Yeah.
You start having your people grow marijuana and all sorts of drugs, and then you just start like selling them. I mean, this is really unethical. I would be the drug dealer king. I would be a terrible, terrible king.
I mean, this is no different than the Spice Road, both in two ways. One, the Spice Road that went from Europe to China, and also the Spice Road, which is the dark web website where you can buy drugs and have them shipped to you. Same idea. You are getting money and riches and control and power through really giving people what they want, whether it's spices or drugs or whatever. That's your ticket to world domination right there.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like just having a geographical knowledge of the world, like I can't name every single country. I can't even name probably 90 countries. But I know the shape of the continents. I feel like that alone would give me a huge, huge advantage.
That's true. And you know where places are good for growing drugs.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Seattle.
This is a really dark episode.
I like it though.
See, what I think is you could go back, you could be successful, but you would have to throw all your 21st century morals out the window.
Yeah.
And that actually brings me to another point, is that what I'm discovering is that, at least for me, I'm not a very moral person. It's actually just that I live in a society that is far more moral. And so, like, you conform. But, like, if I had the power to do anything I want, I'm already thinking, okay, I'm going to go conquer Mexico, take all their gold, start growing drugs to sell to other countries, invent football, make people play it. I mean, I haven't even become king, and I'm already completely corrupted.
Rick lands in the 1500s, just opens up his chest, turns the empathy dial down on his cold robot heart. Yep, and that problem's fixed. Let's go conquering.
Let's go Badman.
All right. I think this is a solid episode. I like it. It's
I'm not so sure, DAFS.
We've hit so many hot topics and trigger warnings, and no one's gonna be happy with us at this point. So let's call it a good end.
Oh, I wish you didn't have to work tomorrow, because I feel like we need to do so many more takes of this.
I don't know. I like this one.
You like it?
I do.
Wow.
Let's listen to it again. I won't post it for 24 hours. We'll listen to it again, and I'll let Stacy see it. And
tell her if she thinks that. Tell us if this is way terrible. If it's 1, super offensive, 2, just really boring, 3.
I feel like the ladies in our lives really are our moral compasses.
This is true.
All right.
You can't say that.
That's
That's
what we'll do.
terrible.
What? No, they're good moral people. I'm just saying that we're not always.
No. I'm being them.
Oh, gotcha.
That's terrible. You can't do that.
But I'm king. I can do anything.
I don't really like the idea of you talking about having multiple affairs.
You know
okay.
what? I wouldn't stand for that if I were a king.
See, if she came back with me, I'd probably be a lot better king.
Oh my god, can you imagine Stacy as a monarch?
Yes. She would have an iron will. She would definitely be the power behind the crown.
We would have sexual equality real fast and real bloody. But it would be there, and you'd better like it.
She'd be like, what is the Game of Thrones chick who's super badass? I can't remember her name.
Cersei?
No. The dragon lady.
Melisandre? Oh, Daenerys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's super hardcore.
I could see her being Daenerys.
She might be my favorite.
She'll like that. That'll be the biggest compliment. She'll be like, oh, thank you.
Dude, she's badass.
I've made some comparisons to Stacey and Daenerys before.
Now we're just talking about our everyday lives.
Nothing I can say.
I think Molly looks like Katie Sackhoff.
She does a little
The
bit.
older she gets, the more she looks like Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah.
It's inexplicable.
Mm-hmm.
Cosplay. I keep telling her we need to go to a Comic-Con.
Yeah. You guys should.
This is really bad. We need to.
Well, we can cut this section off. That's just fine. At this point, it's just dead air. Doesn't matter what we say.
We should do an outro really quickly.
All right, let's do that,
And then
fade it in.
I'll cut it. I'll cut it.
Sound good. That sounds good.
Okay. So DAFS. Decision time. Would you do it?
No.
Would you be the king
Nope.
in the 1500s?
Not a chance. I'm staying right where I'm at. I like me some soap and clean clothes and air conditioning.
I would do it.
I know you would. I know you would. That's why this podcast works so well, because most things that I would not do, you're like, yep, both feet in, let's do it, guys.
Yeah, that's true. That's really weird. Because I'm actually really off on most everything, and you're like, yeah, sure, give me a self-driving car. Yeah, I would go be James Bond and probably live a terrible life. But you're like, no, be the king of a country in 1500. That's too much work for me.
We're very similar, but we are on opposite ends of the spectrum on a lot of these topics. I like it.
All right, well, this has been another episode of the Rick and DAFS podcast. I'm Rick.
I'm DAFS.
And have a good one. That's terrible. I think it's really bad.
You think so? I think this is great.
It's epically bad, and it's 40 minutes of epically
I think
bad.
this is